All right, so today we're talking about the 1995 film Fallen Angels by famous filmmaker Wong Kar-wai, who I am a big fan of. I have only seen two of his films previously. I've seen Chungking Express and I've seen In the Mood for Love, two movies which I love very dearly, and two very unique movies, not only in my own movie watching experience, as in my own perception of them, but also very stylistically unique that can be talked about at length. But I think I'll start off with just my personal experience with these movies by Wong Kar-wai because they, more than other movies, are movies where after I watch them is when it hits the hardest. I feel like his movies hit the hardest during the trailers. These are the types of movies where you sit during the trailers and you just like reflect on everything that just happened. He chooses the perfect trailer song. Like in this one, it's Only You, which was great. I listened to the whole song in the trailer. And then Chungking Express is Dream, I think, by the Cranberries, the Faye Wong version. I think that's what was during the credits. And two greats. Oh, his soundtrack's incredible. But what I'm trying to say is that I think that these movies hit the hardest during the credits and after you watch them. Chungking Express was a movie where when I was watching it and right after I watched it, I was like, okay, that was very interesting, very unique. I think it was the first one I watched out of the three. And I was like, okay, not sure how much I liked it. It was tough to follow up points, but it was very stylistically very unique, very cool. Still got to think about it more. And so I think I gave it like a 3.5. Again, it's ratings and like talking about it matters way more, but just like throughout time, maybe like a week later, it was the one movie that I've seen that week or that month that just like stuck in my head. A few moments, a few songs, just like the overall feel of it. And then recently, I've just been like wanting to see that feeling again. And like I've seen a bunch of clips of Chungking Express. I mean, the algorithm on YouTube knows what it's doing, so I've watched just randomly a bunch of Chungking Express clips, listen to the songs with like random edits of the clips going along to the songs. And it's just such a good feel. These films are just such a weird, fun representation of lost souls in the 90s. They're just roaming around. Everyone's heartbroken. Everyone's smoking cigarettes. And it's just like these really attractive Hong Kong people just like losing their minds and just like roaming around doing random stuff, especially Takeshi Kaneshiro. Man, his look, he's just so effortlessly cool. And I know that's a meme for some celebrities and some internet personalities, but like he really is just effortlessly cool. Like look at him in this poster. He's so cool. But yeah, just like the days that his movies are, they're always like set at nighttime. All the lights have like an aura around them, and it's always so dreamlike. And I think that's a word that is attributed to his movies a lot, and I think it makes a lot of sense why it is. Because again, yeah, a lot of his movies, a lot of what I remember about his movies and why I like the feeling so much is this dreamlike romanticism about everything. And so more specifically to Fallen Angels in this one, we follow, I'd say, four main characters. And I don't remember everyone's name, so I'll just kind of generalize them as like what their character did and everything. So we have our characters. We have the hitman, and he often hangs out with Blondie, who dyes her hair blonde because she wants to be noticed. And then we have the two characters in the poster here. We have Takeshi and I don't know how to describe this other girl. Let's say she is let's just call her other girl. Oh, that's horrible just to call her other girl, but just to, make sure everybody knows who I'm talking about. We follow these main four characters, and I think Takeshi really takes it home with this one. Of course, he's in Chungking Express, and he's not really like the main guy in that one, I'd say. I think the second story with Faye Wong and Tony Leung kind of takes the cake for that one. But in this one, every time he's on scene playing this guy who has gone mute because he ate some cans of pineapples, very Chungking Express of him, and he just goes around and he goes into closed businesses and he serves people, oftentimes unwillingly. And I don't think that's really a spoiler. That's kind of just a very, very loose interpretation of his character. I think, honestly, I could say what each of these characters do at length, and it wouldn't really be a spoiler for the movie because watching the movie, the spoilers are like how everything is played out. Like the cinematography is the spoiler, and like the craftsmanship is the spoiler that I can't actually verbally say to you. Or I could try, but it really wouldn't do it justice anyway. But from now on there will be spoilers to the narrative, but again, I think you can still watch this and get a good interpretation of what's happening in the general feel and still go to watch it and have a very unique experience. We start out with The Assassin, and that song plays where it's like, oh, I'm so cool. That song, which was very funny, very on the nose. His song choices are always great because his song choices are just always great, period, full stop. Wong Kar-wai's movies rely a lot on narration. And I really, really love the lines of narration. I think the lines that he says in this movie, the lines that he writes, in this movie, that are just the internal monologue of all the characters are why the movies are so character rich and character driven. Because, yeah, I think we have this assassin and he says, oh, he likes his routine. He likes people telling him what to do. And that comes full circle at the end where he says it's time for change. And as he's narrating that segment where he says it's time for change, that's right when he dies. And these characters are going through these journeys, but it really is those little lines that kind of just give us nuggets of what people are thinking, and it kind of humanizes them because this movie is very, I don't want to say slapstick. It has elements of slapstick, but there is a lot of physical humor, I think, especially with both of the male characters. And as well with the other girl who hangs out with Takeshi a lot. I mean, her humor, I guess, is less physical, but it's just like, she is a very funny character, I think, when we're introduced to her. I really love that scene where Takeshi, he's going around, he's giving people, or he's trying to hand out flyers for this business. And then she's on the phone just like ranting to Blondie. He's like, oh, I need to find Blondie. She took my man. They're going to marry each other. Oh my gosh, I love that scene. And he just gives her more coins just to feed that phone. Oh, that's so good. I love that scene. There's so many little scenes in this that are just absolutely perfect. And I think that's what Wong Kar-wai does the best. Because again, in Chungking Express, I think, yeah, Faye Wong being in the apartment, like her getting caught, that stuff, oh, that was so perfect. And it's just like those little moments that you remember, those segments. Where was I keep on going off on rants about just like certain moments that I really like. But I think that's a fair way of analyzing this film because the film is very like fast paced. We go to like from place to place and it's all about, I think a lot of the characters live in the moment. And I think that's a big thing with these characters and his characters in all of his movies. They're living in the moment. They may have, it alludes to their past. They may have been heartbroken. They may have been gone through something, or they may just be like reflecting on their current state. But all the characters are very self-reflexive and living in the moment. And they're at like a turning point in their life, which is honestly why the movie connects to humans. Or to humans, why the movie is as impactful as it is. Because, again, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but all these characters are really just, like I said before, lost souls. I think that's a really good word or a really good phrase that encapsulates his movies. These lost souls that have emotional things in their past or that are happening to them currently, and they're just trying to figure it out. And they do crazy things along the way. They're not 100% human, but those human emotions that they're dealing with are what people connect to. And I think that Wong Kar-wai has a very, very unique talent in crafting these scenarios where people randomly bump into each other. I think his worldview in his movies, it always has people randomly bump into each other. Things happen by chance. I think he's very much a fan of, instead of you have a destiny, you have a set path, he's just thinking in the way of that. Any little occurrence, the littlest of change in your life, the chance occurrences that happen, the chance meetups, the people that you bump into, those are the moments that define your life. You cannot predict it. You can't know what's going to happen, because I think a good example of the assassin character and then his partner are that the partner starts to fall in love with the assassin despite never meeting him. She makes the plans. She like sets up this room where he gets prepared. She tears it down after, like leaves no trace after the kill is done. And she has fallen in love with his routine, fallen in love with his bits of character that he's leaving behind in these rooms, in the trash that he leaves, in his smell, everything like that. And in her mind, she's manifesting this romance with him, as we can very clearly see in those scenes where she's alone in bed. She's imagining this life with him, and that's her plan. That is exactly what she wants to happen. But it doesn't happen. And they meet up for once. They meet up once near the end. And once they meet up, they say that I think there was a specific line where it's like, you can't get involved with your business partner or something like that. And I think her character was really, really great because you feel for her this whole time. This man that she's grown to know from these small occurrences. They meet up and then just like things don't go her way. And that whole vision, that whole thing that we've been building up this whole time, that's pretty much what we've known her character for, is just completely shattered. And now she's just going off on her own. Again, she is lost. She's had this emotional moment stripped away from her, and now she's on her own, wandering, trying to deal with those emotions. And man, he sets up these scenarios. They're so interesting. They're so like, they're not real. None of the scenarios feel very real, like these things would happen, like these people would exist. They're these weird oddballs that do these weird things. And I think that because the camera is so erratic, because the music can be so in your face, because the lights are so dreamy, it's not representing real life. It's almost as if all of these emotions are being exaggerated in these different characters. We have the cold-hearted killer. We have the heartbroken wanderer in Takeshi's character. We have this girl who's angry that this guy got with another person. And then this like quiet, reserved girl who dreamt of a life with this one guy, and then that's just completely shattered. And it's not exaggerated in the way that all of the characters are very extreme. They're not all very outgoing. Some of them are, but just all of the emotions, whether it be sadness, whether it be violence, or whether it be just, I would say, silliness with Takeshi's character. They're amplified, maybe not visually, but just in their emotions. And I think going back to the internal monologues that they have, the voiceovers, those are kind of where those emotions shine as well. Because this hitman, is he really, he's being that self-reflexive about his job that he's going around killing a bunch of people. Oh, he likes the routine. It is very like, I hate throwing around the word pretentious, but he's very like full of himself. And I think that because the narration can be so obnoxious and, like I'm saying, extreme emotionally, that we're not taking it 100% seriously, but at the same time, those human emotions allow us to see him as more of a real character. I feel like there's an oxymoron in what I'm saying there, but I think that, you know what, in the end, his just like, he weaves these emotional moments perfectly together in this world that is very dreamlike. It's not like the real world, but these characters, they go from place to place. They have these interactions, like I said, lost souls. That's the epitome of his work, and it just has such a feel to it. Like I said with Chungking Express, the feel of the movie lingered with me longer than the actual watching it process. And I think that's true with this movie as well for Fallen Angels. There's some iconic scenes. Oh, with Takeshi and his father after. That scene was just like so emotional. A lot of the themes in the movie deal with heartbreak and everything. But this one is with relationship with a father and son. In this one, it's not somebody being heartbroken with a romantic partner. We just saw them hang out together for a bit. Then he brought out the video camera, and we saw that the dad really liked looking back at those videos, a sweet emotional moment. And then the dad passes away. And then we have him sitting alone, looking back and reflecting on how his dad just liked to watch the tapes. And he's happy that he has recorded those and that he could see his dad again in those. And it's such a sidetrack from everything else that's going on with all of the other characters. It's like you would think you have all these characters that are in these posters here. You would have Blondie and everything like that. And then we just add in that dad character later on. And it just works so well. He's going from place to place. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do. And he's just such a lovable character and just such a lovable performance as well. He is absolutely electric in Chungking Express in this. And I don't know how Wong Kar-wai does it, because I really do love the style, and I'm trying to write a short film script that is similar thematically And I really like the dream aesthetics and the lost soul isms that I'm trying to translate it, but just like the absolute creativity that Wong Kar-wai has with figuring out these scenarios and how they mesh together. Like, I would love to figure out how his writing process works, because it's insane how this movie just comes together, almost like Pulp Fiction-esque, where it's just like so many different storylines interweaving, and then you have those chance occurrences that just sends things in different directions and everything. And man, it was such a great movie. I really don't understand his movies 100%, but just like the emotions that he's able to elicit from these characters, the dreamlike aesthetic, like I really love the death scene of the assassin, where he's going in, and again, we have that monologue where he's reflecting, and he's going in, he's running about. We've seen him do this a couple times already, and then in the end, we see everything spins. Everything starts to go blurry. We have that weird slow-mo frame thing that he does, and then everything that just goes black, and his narration starts. It's time, or his narration completes. It's time for change. And it's like, I don't know how he does it. He's a master. He's a master. But yeah, I would say 100% watch this, watch Chungking Express, watch In the Mood for Love. Those are the three that I've seen. I think if I watch the next one, I'll watch, 2046? Is that the right word? Or is that the right combination there? Yeah, 2046. I think that's the next one I'll watch if I watch another one soon. But yeah, these top three are just absolutely insane, unique, must-watch movies. And yeah, Wong Kar-wai's great. Love him.